Hello, hello, and welcome back to Geeky Girls Journal. This is your hostess with the mostest, Andrea, and co-host with the absolute most, Star. So we're here on another Sunday, you all, and this is going to be one that we're going to have to work through because, as you can see, hello out there. Hell, I see you. I see you. Thank you for coming in. As you can see, I'm here. Tamika and Adrian were not able to make it again, so it's going to be a duet again. We're going to, hey, duo power, Star and I, we got it. But also, we have a bit of a we have some disappointing news. I know you're used to Star chiming in and giving some really, really good information, as she still will, but it's going to take her a minute today to be able to do that because guess what? She can't even talk. She can speak just a little bit. So we're just asking for a little grace today. We're just asking for your participation because we're going to have a whole lot of that today. This is going to be a group project. And I know that there are a lot of you out there that can actually relate to this topic. So we're going to lean on you a little bit today. We're going to lean on you a little bit today. And I have a couple of, I had some slides pulled up, but for some reason I can't put them up. Well, that's a whole nother story. I couldn't do it because it was making a weird sound. I tried to add my secondary source, but that's all right. We're gonna work through this. If you're in the audience, thank you for coming in. Welcome. Like this video, share it out. Yeah, definitely share this out because there is going to be somebody that needs to hear this message. I can guarantee you that. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you for coming in. Oh, okay. And Star said, hey, Brand, I see you. Star is going to be using technology today, and everything that she has to say, or most of the things that she has to say, you're going to see it over there in that chat box over there. So make sure you all are engaging as usual, and we're going to get started. So today, I thought, and this would have been a great topic for Star to speak on because she has written a book about this very thing, relationships. Hey, Brand, how are you? So what we're going to do is we're talking about move on. That relationship is not serving you. So, you guys, we're going to get started. And what I would like to say is, first of all, I had to go to the experts, and I did. I looked up some things and tried to look up some things that will help out with this conversation, see what the experts were saying. But of course, I'm going to add my 25 cent, and Star is going to add via comment over there. So be looking for her and we'll see what she says over there in the comment box. Brand, I see you. Thank you for sharing, Brand. I appreciate it. And if anybody else is here, welcome. And you know what? I may just, if somebody has something that they would like to share, make sure you add your 15 cent, your 25 cent, whatever it is that you like to add to that comment section over there, because this is going to be a growing opportunity, personal development, all that good stuff. So strap up. And if you have a story that you'd like to share, let me know there in the comment section. Maybe I can pull you up and then we can, have this conversation. But let's go ahead and get started. So I wanted to talk about this because I've been seeing a lot of things online about relationships, people in relationships, people leaving relationships, people just not having a good time in relationships. And I thought this would be a good time to talk about relationships. I did want to talk about it with somebody other than just myself, but we don't have that luxury today now, do we? So I'm just gonna go ahead and we'll see what you all have to say. Okay, I see you, Brand Geeky, no problem. Okay, so what I want to do is start out by saying I have this question I like to ask the audience is if you had the chance, and you know what, actually, we're gonna this conversation today, let me just start out by saying this can apply to different relationships. So what I wanted to do is look at it. Hey, Keisha, how are you? Keisha said hi. I'm sorry. So what I wanted to do is look at it in the aspect if you're just a single person and dating. If you're dating in a relationship, we'll start there. So there are going to be three categories. If you're dating, then if you are um, we can talk about a friendship aspect of relationship, and then we can talk about marriage, or we could do vice versa, actually, friendship, dating, marriage. So that's how I wanted to kind of break it up because they all can, you can apply some of these strategies to either of those categories. Hey, hey, Jamie, how are you? Thank you for coming in. You can apply these to any of those categories. And so what I want to say is move on. If the relationship is not serving you and you are single, that's the key word. If you're single, because we all know that those of us that are married, we know that the rules are kind of different once you're married. And we're going to talk about that. Very different. And I wish I had Star's voice today so she could add on to this, but she can say whatever she has to say in the comment. And then if she wants to speak a little bit, she's also able to do that. Um, so what with a single person, if you are in a relationship and you're experiencing some difficulties, if you are just not getting along with that person right now, and you just feel like this relationship might be a wash, or they're not serving me in the way that I want to be served, they're not meeting my needs, they're um, not accommodating me, or what if it's just that you got into this relationship thinking that it would be one way, but it's a completely different way? So you look like you had something to say, Star. Are you okay? Okay, so
Yes, because love is not a one-way street.
love is not a one-way street. It definitely is not a one-way street. And definitely, Star said something over here in the comments that I missed. People that are married dated at one time. Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for that. People that are married dated once upon a time. So when they were dating, I know that sometimes I've seen and I've read some stories where people are saying, it was a little bit different when you dated, and then once they became married, you know, reality set in and that person started getting comfortable. That person, maybe they didn't leave their underwear hanging on the door, or maybe they didn't leave their underwear on the floor when you're dating. They might have concealed that. Or maybe they talk to you differently, because we all know that when you're dating, it seems like that's when people kind of give it their best shot. They're trying to shoot their shot. So they're coming in kind of hot, like, hey, I want this person to see. Maybe they want you to see this specific side of them. And
The
they're just showing you
representative.
all the glamour.
The representative.
Oh, good word. The representative is there. So that person may not really be there. It's their representative, and their representative is showing all the best things about that person. They didn't show yet that that person um, may not have any emotional intelligence, or that they may be a little bit of rough around the edges. I mean, we all have things that we can work on. We're all flawed. We can all do some things a little bit differently. But if that representative is there and they can show you what they want you to see, is what I guess I'm saying. They can show you the person that they want you to see. You won't. They can show you the person that they want you to see. And then when you're dating them, you might think everything is wonderful. They do all the right things, they like being around your family, they say all the right things. If you're a person that like gifts, yes.
I'm so mad I can't talk.
I
I
know, I
heard a
wish you could. I feel.
sermon. I heard a sermon today at church, and this was exactly that. We
Oh
talked
my goodness,
about
I could use it.
how the Holy Spirit gives you discernment, and and you take that person around your family, and back in the day, there's something ain't right with that person, and you don't need to be with them. And you're like, you really know that inner spirit tells you that's not who you're supposed to be with. You better listen, because marriage is not just walking away. I know when I was dating and I got fed up, I was like, psh,
Ex Oh, that's what you did. So you set it off again. That psh, balloons, they like what you're saying. I love what you're saying. I wish you could share more. Maybe you can just talk quieter and save your voice. But start also an engagement tomorrow. But absolutely, let me piggyback off of what you said. I'm glad you said that, because that person can definitely show you who they want to be, or who they want you to think that they are. And then once you get into that relationship, it's wise to use discernment. We talked about this before, and Star is correct. If you take that person around your family, they're going to look at that person differently than you do because you may just be so like, oh, I love them or this is the right person for me. But then your family, they don't have the same emotional attachment that you have. They're not as invested in this person, so they can see that person for who they really are a lot of times. And they can tell you, and I'll give you an example. I just thought about something. And I might have talked about this before. I did that when I went on a date with a family member and they were in it was a pretty new relationship. I'd say probably a year in. And I said, hey, let me just go with you and let me check the person out for you. So I was a third leg. Yes, I was. That's okay. I was a third wheel. I didn't mind because it was for a purpose. So okay, let me go in and oh hey badass, how are you? Bad AZZ, bad as 93 say, oh hey, I remember you saluting. Hello, ladies and gents. Hey, how are you? So yeah, anyway, so I said, okay, this is what we're gonna do. I'm going on this date with you, and you just, act like yourself. I'm gonna ask the hard questions. And I did that because I wanted that person to be able to see, what that person's true thoughts were. Or, they could have been trying to camouflage something in front of me, but I felt like I asked some questions that would not normally be asked because I didn't care if this person likes me or dislike me. I'm not in a relationship with them. So maybe sometimes it's best to take another person that is not emotionally invested and then they can ask the question that you don't want to ask and you can find out. Yes. Did you want to say something?
I did. I remember that.
Okay, you remember that? And they can ask the hard questions and they can also take pictures of that person's license plate if they want. Just in case something went down, it starts to, I remember that. So they can do all those things that you may not feel comfortable doing, but you have that person there that's on the side that can say, hey, I'm here. I'll stand in the gaps for you. I'll ask the difficult questions. I'll ask, do you have a wife on the side? Do you have kids? Are you paying child support? Do you have a good job?
I mean, if you're dating, I'm trying to turn my mic up. Can you hear me?
Yeah, let me turn it up for you. We can hear you. Yes, clearly.
if
I'll turn you up. Go
if
ahead.
if you're dating and you are looking for marriage, then you should not be afraid to ask any question. You better ask, and you better ask now, because later is too late. The minister said, and I thought this was funny, but it was really good. He said that he does marriage counseling, but when he does marriage counseling, he doesn't promise that he's going to marry them. He doesn't promise that he's going to sign that certificate because if he
Mm.
sees something that shouldn't be there, he won't sign it. And so that was really groundbreaking for me because there's a lot of ministers that will counsel, and in the back of their head, like, oh, they don't have no business getting married. That's the whole point in counseling. You need to tell that person or that couple, yeah, y'all need to work on some things, or this person may not be for you. And here's what I see. You shouldn't be afraid to ask any question.
I agree. Nothing is off the table. And yeah, you did give me bad butt. That's why I used to call you bad butt all the time. But to Star's point, I completely agree. Nothing, and I mean when I say nothing, I say
Nothing.
nothing should be off the table. And I think we brought this up before too, that whatever it is that you want to ask, I don't care if you think it's like one of those fleeting
It
thoughts.
doesn't matter.
Ask.
And
It does not.
I did not show my representative to my husband when I was dating him. He invited me over. He made dinner. I ate. And I said, where's your bathroom? And do you have any freshener?
That was not your representative. And it's funny.
And
I have a similar story. I
he looked really funny, like, no, she is not going to come over here and do number two at my house. Yes, I am.
and
I'm human.
will.
That's what I have to do.
I'm human and I gotta go. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you know. I've actually done the same
If
thing.
you
The
marry
person that
me, I'm gonna do number two. Why
I'm
I
gonna do
can't
number
do
two.
number
And guess
two
what?
while we dating?
And I'm gonna do number two a lot because I go like that. But also, I did the same thing when I was dating my spouse, my husband. I did the same thing. I left the door unlocked because that's just something that we did in my house. I don't know, and the door was unlocked. I don't even think I tried to or didn't remember to lock it, one of the two. And I had a phone call and I left my phone outside the bathroom, and he was like knocking on the door and said, "I have your phone." I think it was like my mom or sister or something that wanted to talk to me. He was like, "It's important. You need to take it." And I was like, "Okay, just bring it in." He brought it in. And I was doing number two. I didn't even care. I was like, "I'm sorry, but like, what do you want me to do? I have to go." Like, and I was just like, "Sorry,
And that,
open the window."
I mean, that's minimal and very embarrassing for most people. But we're talking about this guy was, this minister said he required 5 documents before he entered into a marriage counseling situation. He wanted birth certificates, he wanted a financial report, he wanted a criminal report, he wanted a health report, and he wanted baby pictures. Baby pictures. Now, you know why he said that. But he said he required each person to bring those things, not for him, but for each other. You need
Yeah,
to
for the other
know
person.
who you're marrying. You need to know
Absolutely.
for the most part, you need to know who you're marrying.
I agree, like, because you never know. Sometimes you don't know what you're getting these days, and I think that's an excellent idea. Now, so you had a background? Yeah, so okay, I have proof that this is what you were. You had male parts when you were born, and you still have them, and then
Right. And so having
and you don't
said, if you find anything out that proves to be faulty, that's the whole topic for tonight. It's not serving you. Say deuces and move on. Don't waste your time
this is a
because you can't get your time back. You can get another man,
you
you can get another woman, you can get another car. You cannot ever get your time back ever.
you cannot ever get your time back. And the damage, like if you're in a relationship where somebody is verbally abusive or just mistreating you and you're single, why are you subjecting yourself to that when you can, like you said, you can find somebody else? There's other fish in the sea, right? Or even if there weren't other fish in the sea, what's wrong with being single for a little while?
He
What's wrong with being
said the
single and
other
just,
week, I said, there's a blessing in being single.
it's a blessing in singleness. Like, I know that a lot of people like to rush into relationships or say, I really want to be married. I want to be married ever since I was 5 years old or whatever the story is. And that's all fine and dandy. However, you would not want to rush into marriage just to be married to somebody.
That is a
You would need
ministry.
to, that's definitely a
Marriage is a
ministry. Oh,
ministry, and a lot of times, as women, I know that we grow up with the notion that we're not anybody unless we're Mrs. Somebody, because I pretty much grew up like that. That's when you become
and
somebody.
people,
But when you become Mrs. Somebody, that's when you have value, and they don't value women when we're single. But we need to understand that marriage is a ministry. Yeah.
definitely, it's a ministry. And is it work? Yeah, it's work. It can definitely be work. It can definitely be work. And, you know, it doesn't come easy. Like you have to put work into it, just like with any other relationship. If you have a friend, you have to nurture that relationship. If even if you're single, if you have, I was talking about single. If you're single and you just have like girlfriends or whatever, you you have to do things in that relationship.
That
And I
happened
wanted
as
to
well for me this
see,
weekend.
and we're gonna get
I was feeling some type of way, and I said, nobody calls me anymore since I moved to Florida. I'm like, nobody calls me anymore. Well, I randomly got a phone call from two of my girlfriends, and they called and just said, "I just called to tell you that I love you."
Oh, I just called to say I love you.
But
All right,
that
look,
just gave me reassurance that someone does think about me and that I am
somebody
important
does.
to someone else.
And see, that relationship is serving you to some
It's
extent. They're giving you something that you need. They're giving you something that you need. If that person is continuing, did you say something?
no, I just was saying that's correct.
Oh, yeah, if that person is continuing to drain you and you just feel like, they're just taking all the best parts of you. And I've heard people say, oh, they're taking all my good years. And by the way, can I talk about this? Like if you're in a relationship, and this is a personal choice, but I've seen, and this is just my opinion, where people are in a relationship for like 10 years. I'm saying like if you're single, you're dating, and you're in a relationship for 10 years. Can I ask why? Why 10 years? Or why 7? You don't know who it is that you're with at that point. Like you should know. I don't think it should take. This is also my opinion. So if you all have something to say over there in the comment section, I'm going to catch up right now with the comments. But why does it take 10 years for somebody to recognize that they want to be with you? And I think that that's just somebody stringing you along. And I don't believe that that relationship will be serving you. Why are you wasting 10 years of your life when you can, like Star said, move on? There's some other people out
You
there.
can't
And if you don't find, sorry,
you can't get it back. I lost 7 good years in a in an abusive relationship. 7.
7 years.
Can't ever get it back.
See, you heard it. You can't get it back. And Jamie says, as a widow, I'm finding it's easier to be by myself than to play games. I see. I hear that. And I'm gonna scroll down because I saw something I thought Tay said. Oh, Tay said,
Some people don't.
even if you ask, they can still lie though. Yeah, some people just are liars.
And some
I
people
mean, what-
just don't wanna get married. Case in point, a lot of times when you have the older community and they are widowed or what have you, and we all know how the government works, you get your spouse's Social Security benefits or whatever. But if you marry somebody else, you lose that. And a lot of people are like, I'm not losing that. So it's not even that they don't want to not get married, that it's the government and the laws make you have to live in sin. I said that today to my husband. I said it's not fair because older people would still like to remarry sometimes. But if they do, they lose their benefits. So they're left with a choice. Do I marry this person and lose my benefits? Or do I just do what we do and keep my benefits?
hmm. Thank you for coming in, Jay, and sharing out. I appreciate that. Wow. Tay said, good. Ain't that the truth? Jamie, that's who she's talking to. Hey, Name Twin. Hey, Jay Lachey. Thank you all for coming in. If I did not acknowledge you already, I see you. Thank you for coming in. And remember, if I don't read your comment, I go back and I read all these comments. So I will see you. I see Drea Lachey, Jamie, um, Jay Jordan, Tay, everybody. So bad, but I see you too. Okay. So I just wanted to go to this comment. I think Drea Lachey. I believe a man knows when he want to make you a wife, never a forever girlfriend. We just talked about that. I believe they know
The
too.
women know too. You know when
Women
you meet
know.
a man if that's somebody that you're interested in actually having a lifelong relationship with. At least I knew.
Yeah, you.
I knew
Yeah,
what
you know.
category you fit in right out the gates. It was like,
And
yeah, no, I don't want to marry him. I just want what I want, whatever that
and
may be.
you know, and you know how to categorize that person. Also, can we talk about that? You know how to categorize it. If you're going out on a date with that person, you already know that this person is not a good fit. They could go in the friend zone, or they may go into the no zone. No, not ever, not hardly. No, I don't even want. I don't even want to see you again, Zoe.
Sometimes I went out on a date because the guy bugged me so bad. I was like, okay, we can go to McDonald's, just leave me alone.
No, you didn't give him a. Here you go. Here, just take this
Let,
McDonald's day
let's
and
just
leave me
let's
alone,
just
please.
let's just go have coffee so we can get it over with.
Let's just go have coffee. So then, like you said, let's just go have coffee, and then like, how do you resolve or diminish the
Well,
relationship? You know, just it
when
depends
we're
on the
having
person.
coffee, I reiterate what I was telling them from the get up. I told you that you weren't someone that I was interested in, but you insisted. And now we're having coffee, and I'm telling you the same thing.
Now we're having coffee. Do you believe me this time? And nothing's changed. I still don't want to go out with you. So, whew, but that's another thing too. Some people can pester their way into a date. I've had that
They
happen. Like,
pastor their way into a date. Very
and
much.
I was like, no, no, it's not gonna happen. We're not gonna even waste time like that because I already know that I don't like you like that. I don't see you in that way. So it's probably best that if it was somebody who was a friend, like a long term friend, and I had to explain to them, look, I just see you as a friend. It's nothing more, nothing less.
And
Let's just keep it that
I
way.
made a comment in my book, The 22 Things Men and Women Should Ought Not Do in Relationships. And one of them was never overstay your welcome.
Don't overstay. What did your mom, my grandmother used to say all the time? Do not wear
Don't
your
wear out
welcome
your
out,
welcome.
and that applies to dating. It also applies to house guests. That's what she was talking about, house guests. But we can make that apply to dating because don't wear
It
your welcome out
applies
here.
to dating as well.
Yeah, because it goes along with everything we've been talking about. If somebody is there and they're just there, why are they there? And I like what Keisha said. Yes, I'm that blunt and honest. Yeah, I'm not. Why are we wasting time? I It's not working. And this is called the relationship is not serving you. This relationship is not going to serve you because if I go out with you, it's just because I'm giving you a pity date. So I might as well I might as well not. And it's not going to go anywhere from there. So I'd rather just not pull your
It's not.
strings because you already know.
I once told a
Yeah.
guy that stuck around me for years, and he did that of his own choice. But I always reminded him that we were just friends. But he said to me, um, why don't we just go on and get married? I said, you say that like, why don't I just go to Ross for less and pick out a dress? Like, I think marriage is way more important than why don't we just go on and get married? What kind of stuff is that? I'm like,
And I'm glad.
you're already three in the negative. There's a common denominator here. If you have three divorces and I have none, yeah, that should tell you something. Maybe you need to take your time. When you enter into these things, you don't enter into them lightly.
Oh, you just brought something up that we didn't talk about now. And this is not going. We'll see if it shifts the conversation or not. It's okay if it does. But you were just talking about marriage and entering into marriage lightly. So I'm just gonna say it. I think that's part of the problem nowadays. Like, I think that people enter into marriage for whatever reason that they have. I won't say why they're entering because there's so many different reasons why people enter into a marriage. But a lot of people do not realize how important those vows are. And you are literally taking a vow, right? And you're saying this before God. And that's one
And a
reason
whole
why
bunch of
I
people.
believe and a whole bunch of people. And I'm going to say this. I can't remember who was saying this. I was reading an article or looking at somebody's video. I can't remember which one it was. It probably was a video. And they were saying they thought, and I was like, huh, that's kind of different. I never thought about that. But maybe I'm just going to share this with you all. You tell me what you think. If you agree with this, put a one. If you disagree, put a two. So this person was saying that when people get married, they do, people do all the things, right? They send out the invitations, they invite all these guests, they cater the event, they have everything, like everything that you can imagine for your wedding, however you want to set up. And then you have the audience there witnessing your marriage, right? So you say the vows, and some people decide that they want to, you know, customize their vows. But he was saying that if people wanted to get a divorce, that they should get divorced the same way that they got married. And I was like, that's different. And I never, and I laughed because I said, you know what, that might, because he's like, it will cut down some of the divorce. And I was like, huh, maybe.
Yes, because
But
divorce is
so you
usually done
saying
in secret. You don't want anybody to know you're
exact,
getting a divorce,
you,
but you want everybody
you
to
don't
know
want
you're getting
anybody,
married.
you want everybody to know you're getting married. It's such a big thing, and you have it wherever, however you want to have it, invite how many guests you want, 250 people, 500 people, whatever it is that you want, whatever that number is. And when he said that, I was like, wow, okay, he might be onto something because, like you said, most people do it in secret, and that's their business. It's their business. But I wonder, perhaps if they had to do it that way, it may decrease the amount of divorces because now you got to go back. Now you got to send out invitations. Now you got to invite these people again. They want to be
You're
fed, and
invited
you
to
got to
my
do it in
divorce.
front of. You're invited to my divorce, and you got to have audience.
The
So are you willing to say in front of this audience, I don't want to be with this person any longer?
exactly. The late Miles Monroe. If you never heard Miles Monroe, look
Awesome.
him up. So
He's
charismatic.
awesome.
I'm so sad
Mhm.
that he left us so soon. But he said once, divorce is worse than death. Because if your spouse dies, you don't have to see them anymore. But if you get a
Mm,
divorce, you still have to see that person. If you have children, you still
mm.
have to deal with that person. They're forever there, like that little scar. They're never
Yeah.
going anymore.
I like that little scar that they might have created in your heart. You never know. So Tay said, yeah, I always said if I ever get married, I want something small and intimate, maybe 10 people, if that. That's the way to go,
Because you
Tay.
don't want to
I
say
mean,
all
I'll
those
tell you what,
vows in front of all those people.
you only got 10 people, and not to mention it's gonna decrease your bill for that wedding
That's true.
because that
Well, a lot
weddings
of
are
people are
expensive.
in love with the idea of marriage and not really what it's all about.
Yeah,
Me,
yeah.
I wanted to
I'm
get
glad
married
you
because I'm a person that loves love, but at the same time, I wanted to get married because I knew that my saucy ways wouldn't serve me for a very long time. And there was no real reaching a pinnacle of spirituality for me if I stayed single because I was always gonna do what I do.
do
So I
what you do.
asked God to
That's a
send me a husband so that I could do what I do and do it legally, spiritually
and
legally.
thank God for the gift of that. And you can do what you do because you can do it because that is just us. So I'm glad you shared that. I'm glad you can talk a little bit to be able to share these little nuggets that you're dropping because, yeah, I wanted to get married because I love the person that I got married to, and I thought, okay, this is somebody that I could grow with. Um, we had some things in common. He made me laugh. It's just a lot of things. So yeah, and then I knew when I took those vows. I told him my father before I took that vow told my husband, once you take her, that's it. She's yours. You deal with her.
Your problem.
Your problem. And I told him so. I was like, that's right. I'm your deal with it. You already know you chose me. So deal with it. Deal with what comes along with it. You might get a storm, you might
But
not.
now, in all fairness, we're talking about move on. That relationship is not serving you. Sometimes it
Not
applies
certain.
to marriage, unfortunately. And you need to know when to move
Unfortunately,
on.
you need to know when to move on. And I'm going to read some of these comments first, then I'm going to tell you what the experts. I read an article what some of the experts say, and I just jotted down a couple notes so that if some of you are in a relationship that you feel like you're not being served, here are 5 signs that you can look for. And I'm going to give it to you right after I read what Bad Butt said because he wants to get me again. I'm not saying it, Bad Butt. What's the song? Take your time, young man. Yeah. Don't you rush to get
It
old.
was
Don't
by
you rush to
Junior.
get old. Yes, Junior. And Mama used to say, live your life. Jamie says she had a wedding with 60 people. Keisha says, my first marriage was to my high school bestie at 19 years old. We spent 6 years growing up and apart from one another. If not for honesty, I would still be with him instead of 21 plus years with my second and current husband. That's great, Keisha. So, man, but you seems like you were
It has
6
some
years.
longevity.
Yeah, you definitely had
The
some longevity there.
when my husband and I got marriage counseling, we actually got marriage counseling after we got married. However,
And I don't even remember.
however, our bishop said he posed a question: what is it that keeps you together as a couple? And it's not love. It's not you look good because that's gonna fade.
Your
It's
faith.
not money. It's not any of that. It is commitment. And a lot of people aren't committed to their marriage. They can't even commit to a job. They can't commit to anything. They can't commit to a TV show, let alone a marriage. So it's the marriage, the commitment is what keeps you together. And I'm saying that because based on what Keisha said, she's a person of commitment and loyalty. Now,
Mhm.
that's the only reason why anybody would stay that long in a marriage because I don't care who you're married to. It's gonna be some boo boo at some time.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it,
It's gonna be some
okay, we're gonna
moments
get
where
into
you
the.
just wanna.
It is, and I think for people to think that it's going to be perfect all the time, like I don't want to say it's delusional, but it is
It is
because you're two different people. It's delusional. You have two different people coming from two different backgrounds that may believe two different things. By the way, I would suggest, I'm just saying, believe two different things. I want somebody who believes in what I believe in, just to make it, just so that we're clear. But I'm already married, so we're not talking about me. So you have two different people coming in with two different backgrounds. They have different opinions, different everything, and they're trying to make it work. So you're going to butt heads sometimes. And a lot of times, I think the reason why the divorce rate could be high is because people are button heads and they feel like, oh, I don't, he said this, I'm saying this, I don't agree with what he's saying. You can disagree with your spouse.
there's no
You can disagree. You're
commitment.
two different people. There's no
There's no
commitment because
commitment.
yeah, you're going to disagree. And if you're staying in it just because you think everything is perfect and everything has to go your way all the time and there's no compromise and this person can have their own thoughts, you can't have your own thoughts, you're not going to be in a
You
committed
could be the Wonder
relationship.
Twins and still butt heads. Trust me.
Yeah. And still butt heads because you two different people. You're gonna have different thoughts. Now, where it becomes a challenge is can you make it work? Can you talk about these things? That's where communication comes in. And emotional intelligence. Can you talk to this person and sort out whatever issue it is that you're having? Can you come to some type of an agreement? Can you hear each other out? That's the first thing. Sometimes people are so busy trying to make their point that the other person can't even get a word in
They
edgewise and they
don't
just feel suffocated.
listen. They hear
They
you,
don't listen.
but they don't listen. There's a difference.
Yeah,
There is a
it is
difference.
definitely a difference.
You can hear something and not be listening.
Yeah, you can hear
The
something and not be listening.
listening
So
means
if
you're
you,
paying attention and it's getting into your psyche and you're taking mental notes and you're
mhm,
remembering and you're filing it in your brain. Hearing is like the Charlie Brown cartoon. Wah, 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 wah,
wah,
wah,
wah,
wah.
wah. And that might be
You're
what
not
the
hearing
person
it.
sounds like to you sometimes.
It
Wah, wah,
is.
wah. If they're speaking, yeah, and if they're saying wah, 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 go ask them what, explain to
When
me
you're
what you
upset
mean.
with your spouse, that's what it sounds like. Let's just be honest. When you're mad with your
Wah, wah.
spouse or your partner or your girlfriend or your boyfriend, that's what it sounds like. Wah, 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 wah.
Right. And then also, like if it's something you don't disagree with and they're wah, 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 but they're making that noise, the only thing you want to do is sometimes you're going to be in defense mode. So you come out swinging.
Sometimes you need to wait to talk about
Yeah.
that.
Sometimes you got to step back or take a pause for the cause and walk away. That's hard to do. That for a person like me, that's difficult to do. Like I've definitely had to learn how to do that because I'm head on. If I see that there's an issue, I want to talk about it right now. I want to talk about it now, but through some of the
Some people
relationships
don't.
I've had, I've learned that not everybody's like that.
No, no, no.
And you got to be patient. And sometimes just that waiting is like, like, come on, what are we waiting
Yeah,
for? Let's talk about
well,
this.
I'm like this. Don't make me wait too long, Oppo,
Yeah,
because,
right.
if I wait too long, then things start to fester.
Exactly.
But,
That's why we need to talk
that is
about it.
something that you need have brought out in your dating endeavors when you meet someone. Like I said, everybody that you meet and you go out with are not necessarily mate potential. Sometimes you just go out for entertainment. I know I did when I was single. Everybody I went out with was
Mhm,
not somebody that I was interested or thought I might want to marry. No, they weren't. Sorry. But
mhm.
maybe they were funny. Maybe they wanted to take me somewhere I had never been before. You know, maybe they had goody good. But that doesn't mean that I wanted to marry them because of any of those things.
Yeah, it just depends on that person, right?
It does.
Yeah,
And
and
it's good to, at best, marry someone that you like, someone that you can be friends with. Be in a
mhm.
relationship
I remember.
with someone that you like. You can love someone and not like them. Liking someone
Yes.
is very important.
Mhm. And we said it earlier, looks fade. That person
But
may have been a
sexiness
sharp dresser,
don't.
whatever it is that attracts you to that person in face. And I believe it was my father-in-law. He told me that a long time ago. You want to marry somebody that is your best friend. Like marry somebody that you get along with, that you can
That you
see
like.
yourself with beyond.
I
Yeah, you
actually
gotta like them.
like you. I like hanging out with you. I like talking to you. I like being with you. I like the way you smell. I like this. I like that. All those likes balled up turn into love. And then time turns love into being in love.
Mhm,
And that solidifies the commitment of it all. But anything
mhm.
beyond that or prior, man, please have a seat. I beg.
And then you have to, yeah, and you have to have somebody who is willing to do the work. Like, say if you're having issues, you have to have somebody who's willing to. If you need to go to counseling, get some therapy. That's not bad. If you need somebody who, you know, say you have a void and they're just not meeting your needs the way you wanted that person to. And again, you can't look for somebody to fill you. I don't think like you should come in there. But if you're looking for something specific and that's what attracted you to that person, tell them. You have to communicate with that individual. You have to communicate. If they're not willing to listen, you just keep trying. And then if they don't want to, if you're no longer, all those things that Star mentioned, all those likes that made that ball and that transformed into love, if you're not receiving those things anymore,
Move on.
why are you wasting? Just hit the road, Jack.
Just move
Why are you doing
on.
it? And I saw
Like, some
Bad
people
Butts
are very go ahead. I was gonna say some people are very apprehensive
comment.
of moving on.
Oh, we know. That's why I tell people date longer and truly get to know the other person. There's no rush. Get an understanding before getting married. Definitely do it then. Sounds like some people may be, um, oh, hey,
Experience.
Amaya girl. Experience, yes, and maybe counseling is would be the key. If you're in a relationship that's not serving you, first try communication. Try speaking to that person. Try telling them what the issue is that you have because they're not a
But if
mind
you
reader.
don't like them, why? Why bother?
Oh yeah, if you don't like them, then that's a. If you don't,
Why
okay,
why waste your time if you don't
if
really
you
like that
if
you
you
know?
already know you don't like that person, no, I'm talking about somebody that you feel like you want to continue to move on with, and you like them. And they're poor listeners or they're just not meeting you where you want to be met. They're not serving you. We're talking about not serving you, and they're just not what you're looking for in a relationship, not what you need. Then address the issues. Give them a little time to work on it. Your Rome wasn't built in one day. Give them a little bit of time. If you see some progression, if that person is trying to work on things,
Sometimes Rome never gets finished being built.
and sometimes it never gets finished. So if it never gets finished, exit
You just
strategy.
you just you just gotta deal with the ruins sometimes.
You gotta know when to fold them for the sun. You gotta know when to fold them.
Kenny
Is I
Kenny
don't is that the right word? Kenny Rogers, know when to hold 'em. Yes, please thumbs up this video. Oh, my girl says some people are such scammers, or some people are scammers. They can be.
they
We were
are,
talking about that.
but this is where your inner man or the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of God on the inside of you, and we all have it if you're a believer. Now, if you're a Satanist, then you don't have that. But if you're a believer, the Spirit of God will tell you. Sometimes we don't want to be quiet and listen. We don't want to listen. We hear the voice saying, yeah, that ain't it. But we don't
Mhm.
listen. It
You
will
don't
tell
listen.
you. It will tell you if that person is a scammer. Trust me. You know.
It will,
You know
you know.
yourself.
Sometimes maybe you just don't wanna listen. They just like, "Oh, no, I choose to still be with that person." I see some what are they red flags. People say red flags all the time. You might see the red flags and be like, "Oh, no, it's okay. I'm gonna just deal with it," or, "I can make that person a better person." I've heard that so many times. "Oh, I'm gonna make 'em a better person." First of all, that person has to want to change. That
You
person has to
don't
want
make
to change.
nobody nothing.
You can't make nobody do nothing. You can't
Only
make nobody
God
do nothing.
can change someone, and He
Only
doesn't
God.
make you change. You do that on your own.
You do it on your own.
No.
So, yep, and there we have it. Hey, Kenneth Wilkinson. Bad Butt says marriage is all about honesty, understanding, communication, sharing, compassion, compromising, trying not to get to bed mad. Oh, trying not to go to bed mad at each other, listening and attraction, being able to work together. A plus. And you said a mouthful, Bad Butt. You have anything to say about that star? I agree. That's a very good
It
list right there.
is, and unfortunately, my neighbor just lost his wife of over 30 years,
Mm,
and he's completely lost.
wow.
He's
I could see that.
85 years old, and now she's gone. Life is short. If you cannot, do not want to be, or will not be with someone, then don't waste your time. And don't waste their time.
Right.
Don't waste
Don't
their
waste your
time
time.
either. Be honest.
Right.
That's what I was. And people thought I was just so brutal because I was like, we're friends. He knows this. Now, did he consistently try to sway me during our friendship? Yes, he did. But I always came back to the same place. We're friends. I don't see you that way. That's not going to happen. I
Mhm.
was
And
honest.
go ahead.
No, no.
You are you're honest. And also, let's take the other if you're not being honest and if you're just stringing a person along for whatever reason, maybe it's finances, maybe it's you get a free meal, you are going to end up just I you're not going to be happy. It's still not going to give you what you want. It's not going to serve you. It's not going to give you what you need because that is not the person that you're looking for. Those are not the attributes that you're looking for in a person. You're just using that person for money or you're just using that person to get a hot meal.
And
And
karma is not good. Bad karma. You can't do that and expect that it's not going to come back to you. You give
you
out
can't do it.
negativity to the universe, you're going to get negativity back. Or
And
biblically
eventually it's going to
speaking, you reap what you sow. You sow good, you reap good. You sow bad, that's what you're going to get back. Science
yeah.
and spirituality works hand in hand in a lot of ways, and that's one of them. Whatever you put out is what you will get back. So you don't want to do that to someone. Move on.
Mhm. That's right. And I know a lot of people are probably saying, if I tell them the truth, if I'm honest, it's going to hurt that person's feelings. But wouldn't you much rather have that conversation and hurt that person's feelings for that moment? Because people heal. We talk about resilience. people can heal. It may take them a day or whatever the process of, it may take them a while to get over you or get over what you just said, but at least you were being honest. You weren't leading them on, and you weren't giving them this false expectation.
I was not. And this person is currently married, and I'm gonna say that he's happily married. I hope that he is. I mean, he sent me a picture of he and his current wife, and I'm like, great. I'm glad for you. You needed someone, but you didn't need me because I was
Hmm.
not going to be the wife that you deserve. You're a good person,
Right.
just not the person for me. I hope
And I
that
think
he's
that's commendable.
happily, yes, but I was honest with him.
Yeah.
There's no there's no shame for me. I don't feel like I did anything wrong to him because I was honest all the time with it. It was like, yeah, no, this is not what I want. But
Yeah. Because that person, like you said, can be a good person. They're just not a good person for you. They're
he was
just
a
not the
very
match
good
for you.
he was a very
Yeah.
good person. A very good
Hmm.
person. Just not the person for me.
Just not the person for you. And bad, but I've been with my wife going on 20 years. Good. And marriage is so simple. I'm the man of the house, but my wife has a voice. We put God first. I love it. I love it. See, they said they put God first, which, if we're talking about biblical, the man is the head. And that's a conversation for another day. And I have it on my list.
Oh
So
no.
he's the head.
I
But,
think I think
we walk.
OJ says something here too.
What did I miss? Oh, Jamie. Hey, girl. Let me see what she said. Jamie and OJ. But what if we were more honest about your intentions up front?
It works. I'm a living
It
witness.
worked. Yep. Me too.
I my husband
I've done.
gave me a nickname when we were dating. He started calling me BH, brutally honest. He was like, "Your brutal
Because
honesty is just, I don't know. At one point, it's refreshing, and at the other end, it's scary."
yeah.
Because I was like, "Listen,
Yeah. Absolutely. And I have to be with you and Jamie on that one. And bad, but that's commendable. You're 20 years, good for you. God is first. Telling you all, you keep God first, and that's the key. Because let me just say, I know I might go off on a tangent, but you all know me. You've been here before. Let me just say this. I hear a lot of this stuff where I see the guys are like telling the wives, be submissive to your husband. But what I want to say without making this a whole nother conversation is if you are following God, you should not, you won't have a problem with your wife being submissive to you because first of all, you're submitting to each other. You're supposed to be submitting to each other. It's not just the wife that's supposed to submit. And I actually marked this in my Bible because it's funny because I was reading it this morning. I was like, oh, this could be right on topic, but not, but is. And it was I'm gonna find the verse for you all. Star might have something to say while I'm looking for it. I marked it in my Bible for this moment because I wanted to share it
nothing."
and I want to tell you all where it is in the passage. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, "Excuse me. I'm eating all these
Oh,
cups trying to get my voice back. Y'all pray for me. I
oh,
need my voice tomorrow. I have a job. I have a job
yay!
to do, and I have no
Job, job.
voice."
So okay, here it is. I found it. I did it was a couple verses. So what Andrea said, thank you. I'm gonna read what Andrea said. And then I'm gonna tell you all what the experts say, because it's 6:57. Then I'll tell you all what the experts say about the relationship not serving you. But what I want to say is this. So in Colossians 3:18 through 19, this is the amplified version. Starting with 18, wives be subject to your husbands out of respect for their position as protector and their accountability to God, as is proper and fitting in the Lord. Husbands, love your wives with an affectionate, sympathetic, selfless love that always seeks the best. That's the key word, always seeks the best for them. And do not be embittered or resentful toward them because of the responsibilities of marriage. That right there says a lot to me, but I want to read this other part. Go ahead, stop.
No, I was just thanking someone that was praying for me because I need my
Oh,
voice.
thank you so much. Somebody pray for me.
So what do the
Okay, so
I
I'm
want to know
sorry,
what
what did you say?
I want to know what the experts say.
Oh, the next one. Oh, you all are gonna love this. And I might have to,
The
oh, I got
expert,
so excited. The experts say, you wanna know what the experts say?
yes.
Can I tell them? Let me tell you all what the next marriage one is in Ephesians 5:22 to 32. Read it. Read it yourself. It's very good. But it's talking about, being subject to your wife and your husband. And I can go into that. I won't because it's 6:58, but just read it and then we can talk about it another time. So the experts say this before we have to go. The experts say, okay, here are some of the signs that indicate it may be time to let go of that relationship. So we talked about some reasons why you can let go of relationships. We are reasons why you would stay, but this is what the experts say. This is from time.com. So I'm going to tell you all what they say. It says your needs aren't being met. That's what they gave 5 signs. Your needs aren't being met. Every person has different requirements. It can be emotional support, it can be quality time. You fill in the blank. Okay. Number 2 was you're seeking those needs from others. You're seeking those needs from others. If you feel like you have to go outside of that relationship to get what it is that you need, you might need to have that conversation or you might need to give it a second thought. And we talked about that a little bit earlier. Okay, the third thing is you're scared to ask for more from your partner. You're scared to ask for more from your partner. Do you want to add before I keep going? You have something to say? Okay, that's number 3. You're scared to ask for more from your partner. Number 4, your friends and your family did not support your relationship. We talked about that discernment. Didn't you say that earlier, Star? When your friends and your family meet that person, they can see the things that you don't see because you might be blinded by love. And, oh, I love him so much. I like him so much. And then the fifth one is you feel obligated to stay with your partner. And we talked about how if you're married, unfortunately, sometimes things do come to an end. Some marriages, and sometimes people stay for their children. Sometimes people stay because they're dependent on the finances, and those are not good reasons to stay because it's just going to create some bitterness. It's going to create resentment. All those things. Me, I plan to stay in it and I'm gonna just continue to work on it because like we said before, marriage is work. Are you okay?
I'm fine.
Okay. So marriage is work. And somebody said, I think it was bad, but my advice is don't be blinded by lust. The grass is not greener. No, because that person also is going to have some flaws. It's not greener. They just might have different flaws. You know what I mean? Like they just might have something that's different than the other person had. Did you see? And you didn't even know that they had this flaw, but now that you are in a relationship with them, you're like, man, maybe I could have just stayed on the other side. I should have stayed in my house. So I agree with that, bad boy. It's definitely yellow. Oh, what was in the comment? The grass?
Well, yeah, the grass. I was saying
Okay.
it definitely is yellow.
It's
All
yellow
I
and
want
some
to in closing is if a relationship is not serving you, whether it be a dating relationship or a marital relationship, sometimes, even in a marriage, you need to move on.
sometimes even in a marriage you need to move on. If it's not serving you, go
Life
ahead.
is a stage, and all the worlds are players, and you only get an entrance and an exit. That's it. You don't have time. You think you have time, but you don't have time.
What's this say in the
And
Bible?
you
Your life is
get
but a
it
viper,
right.
a mist.
It's just
And if
but a minute. And you can't get wasted time back. You can never recoup that.
you can't recoup time. And I want to say this before you all or anybody who's listening just thinks that we're like, hey, just dump that person, get rid of them and get out of that marriage. No, if you
That's
feel like it's something worth salvaging and something that you can work through it. Communicate more, get counseling. Like we said, if you feel like you need if if you need an expert, if you need a therapist to meet, come in. If you need somebody, a clergyman, a pastor,
in
you
other
know,
words, you should exhaust all of your means before in a marriage you say, I'm calling it quits. But in
Yes.
a relationship where you don't have papers, you don't have no legal papers, you're not bound spiritually to that person. You just have spent a lot of time and